Gemini, nice to see you again. Sorry I've been away for a little while. We're going to do your March reading, the overall sort of peek into the month of March reading, because I'll be doing other readings during that month, of course. So let's just dive in. Each year for the last 3 years, I've been creating a makeshift deck. I always do it in February. And so it's brand new, only a few days old, and I'm using it for the first time in this series. So let's get a word for you. You get 2 cards. You get, that's sweet, talent and tender. I love that. So it kind of points to 2 different things. It feels like it's showing you both your career life and your love life, or maybe your private life versus your social life, or at least what you do out there in the world with the talent card. Whereas the tender card is your soft side that you might be reserving to other people. Meaning that you might not be showing yourself in that light to everyone. First card that turned is the 3 of Pentacles in reverse. We're going to keep pulling. Just going to move these cards quickly. So I need to see more before I speak. 6 of Wands in reverse. And keep pulling. 1 or 2 cards before I say something. I will say though that what's coming out is opposite of the Oracle, kind of. Page of Cups in reverse. Okay. Let's start somewhere. We'll pull more, for sure. I need to understand what's happening here. So the contradiction is between the Oracle, which sort of points to, I feel very, you would have these particular inward feelings of deep satisfaction and feeling really quite good about yourself. Knowing your own worth, knowing what you do well, what you do best, and knowing that that's of value. So that's extremely positive. That's the talent card. But it's not being exploited here because we see the 3 of Pentacles in reverse with the 6 of Wands in reverse. So either you know that about yourself, but others don't, because you're not engaging with the public. We see this because of the 6 of Wands, of course, and you're not even truly working in synergy with a team, a partner. But this would be like the work side of things or career side of things. But the main energy is not being seen and not being recognized. Both cards speak of that same energy for your own talents or talent. But I prefer to say talents. Gemini usually have more than one talent. And on the tender side, it's the same thing. If I'm going to keep the 6 of Wands in the middle, in terms of love this time, you're not being heard. So it's like you're not being seen talent-wise, and you're not being heard love-wise. And ultimately, it has you feeling the opposite of what I was implying at the beginning, not having pulled any tarot. I sensed initially that you were feeling quite optimistic and feeling very almost proud of yourself, right? But now with the tarot, I'm sensing that you are lacking a particular think it's feedback. I think it's just, and I really want to make sure to make a difference here, nuance between what would be just mere attention, right? Which is often on this card, especially in reverse, could be wanting attention for the wrong reasons. But in this case here, I feel more insecurities than anything. Okay, insecurity is not the right word here. Because what I'm truly sensing is not so much that you don't believe in yourself, because I think you actually know what your talents are, and I think you know what you bring in love, just how much tenderness and sweetness, especially because we're speaking about a page. In terms of how you approach people, it's extremely subtle. And refined, so it's not always perceivable. Anyway, in both cases, you're not so much doubting yourself, rather than hoping people would see or could acknowledge what you know of yourself, right? So we're gonna dig deeper in terms of what it is that you do basically to compromise yourself in this way, because somehow you're not showing your true colors, is the essence of this message here. Because if you know you possess these qualities, and if you don't feel the outside world is meeting you or seeing you or hearing you, there's a disconnect. So let's dig as to why. I don't think it's insecurity per se. I would like to understand this dynamic for you, Gemini. I'm noticing, you see no cards have popped out yet, so I can sense that this question is crucial. I can't believe it. Just one card turned, and it's the moon. The moon, the moon. You're hiding yourself. You're the one hiding that talent, and you're the one hiding that tenderness. It's not that others would not be able to see it or recognize it or appreciate it if you were to show it. It's just you're just not putting in or not doing what's necessary for others to get the real you. Maybe you're a little much too much in, like, wrapped in your persona. I'm curious as to why, though. Let's keep pulling. Why don't you want to show yourself? Why are you so secretive? I don't know if it's shyness. Okay, one thing that's coming through, though, is your sensitivity. I think you're hypersensitive. That could be one of the reasons, if not the main reason, right? Maybe it's very difficult for you to even sustain criticism, or what you perceive to be criticism, you know, like that would be something to unpack. Okay, I have, so one card that turned and the other one separated itself from the deck, fell face down, but I do want to keep it. So we're going to start with the one that turned. It's the Knight of Pentacles. And the other one is the Nine of Swords, which is a good thing that it's in reverse, right? So I was digging to see why you would, feel so shy or choose to hide your qualities. I think you're very, very slow. It's funny because, you know, um, it's almost like I'm trying to determine how I'm feeling right now. It's a strange mix. I am sensing a lot of confidence, which is kind of like I'm gonna say it feels frustrating because the confidence is there, yet the movement, the speed of this movement, which is so slow, so the fact that there's no speed to it, it contradicts the confidence, if you want, right? It's like saying, how come you're not out there, like, just dash out and, like, I don't know, do XYZ and express yourself. And I don't know, it feels like you enjoy taking your time. It feels like you enjoy, either developing, building on things, when things creep up on you. I'm trying to think of different ways of expressing this so that it comes through differently, because I think it'll be different for each and every one of you. Not the slowness, that would be general, but as to why you like it to take time, right? In terms of, I feel, revealing yourself, because this whole message is about, are you revealing your talent and your tender side, right? And it feels like the outside world is not seeing and hearing you, but ultimately you're choosing to hide it. It's of your own doing, and your motivation is how slowly you want to take things. And maybe we can now, tie it in with, it's a way for you to relieve the anxiety. I spoke of hypersensitivity, right? So, yeah, the fact that the slightest things really touch you, good and bad, right? So you navigate that in a particular way, which seems to be very, it might be working for you, but ultimately it might not be working for you in the sense that you're not able to connect. I'm gonna say it I'm gonna say it the way it comes, but it almost feels like it's not authentic. But I don't think it's about that. I think it's about, that's what it looks like because of all this slowness and all of this hiding and all of this, dissimulating. And so people perceive you in the wrong light. But you do that as well, I guess, maybe from past experiences, and that's your way of approaching people. But ultimately, it doesn't bring you any closer to people or any faster, and it doesn't serve you, I feel, in terms of your connections, both at work and in your private life. Of course, we could speak of a very strong attachment to your mother. That's obviously very omnipresent here with the Moon card being the only card upright in the tarot. And I pulled it as your motivation, right? So either your mother was like that and you sort of adopted, maybe inadvertently or by choice, you know, this particular way of operating or just being. Maybe you've been conditioned in that way and you're not even conscious of it. The moon speaks of being unconscious of that, or having difficulty becoming or being aware of that for yourself. The one thing you'd be aware of is the lack of connections with the outside world. That you would have a reality check about that, knowing that the current, like, you know, the current is not going through. So hopefully this message can point you in the right direction when it comes to either things from your childhood, relationship to your mother, dynamics with your mother, or female figures in general when it comes to this particular way of behaving. I don't know why it's coming out here in March like this. I'm going to pull on that because it's talking to you about a particular pattern, I guess, or way of being that you possess. But I'm wondering what triggers the fact that it's there for you in March, meaning like, why is it addressed? Or let's ask the cards what needs to be changed, or what could be improved, or like just one card to see like what you'll do about it in March, something like that. Why is that at the forefront for you in March? I am smiling, and because the cards are taking their time, and it's okay. It feels like your energy, in the sense that it's precisely when you're being put on the spot that you freeze. Let's see what the cards end up saying there. Okay, so why is it at the forefront? Interesting, it's a contradiction. 3 of Cups and the 5 of Cups. Actually, it's a contradiction that makes sense here with this reading, with the message. I think the reason why you're addressing this is because you wish to reunite and celebrate with people. You really wish to have the connections and the quality. You have expectations in terms of the quality of the rapport that you establish and that you wish to keep and upkeep. And so you are striving for this connection, reconnection, celebration, enjoyment, exchange, etc., joy. And yet, because you feel the lack, it's like it feels like a void maybe inside. You also feel left out from society. You feel left out of, you know, groups, colleagues, like the work group or whichever setting, right? It's the important thing is how isolated you feel, how it makes you feel also. That's maybe the insecurity as well. Now it's kind of cropping up or popping up. Maybe you're more insecure than I'm kind of wanting to point to. Almost like, because I'm reading this on the moon and on the 5 of Pentacles here now. This insecurity when it comes to almost like you're your feelings, right? Like I think that the fact that your feelings are so strong, or like, you know, being so sensitive, it puts you in a place where you feel different. So you're having a hard time, you know, just, how can I say? You feel like how do you call those? Oh, I forget the word in English. Like the oddball. It's not the word I was looking for, but it's kind of that, right? You know, you stick out, or you are different, you feel different, whether you really are or not. It's how you feel about it. I think you feel insecure about fitting in, basically. You don't feel like you belong. It might be your, you know, what we call the talon d'Achille. It means like the Achilles heel, right? So like the place you're most vulnerable is like the sense of belonging, or the lack of. And yet, I really want to go back to this, because I need to show you who you are. You need to know this about yourself. Um, the amount of talent, and just how vulnerable and tender and sweet you are. Absolutely. So let me draw a trinket. I will draw a trinket on the moon card. Um, it feels a very central card in this reading. I'm gonna say, for you, you don't know this, but I thought I grabbed a trinket that slipped. So that's super important, because it doesn't happen often. And I find that these little things matter when I pull, like a card that falls or by itself, right? The same for this. So it's almost like, what it made me feel was all, whatever that was, that I don't know, that because I didn't recognize it, right? I didn't recognize the shape. I didn't have time. It slipped. It's the same idea of like always being afraid of revealing. So whatever that was, you didn't want to be revealed. You know what I mean? So consistently in this message is the idea that you second guess, just especially maybe the first, how can I say, like the first spur, or the first thing that you would express spontaneously. I think you shut that down like right away, no matter what it is, like, and no matter in which sphere, and no matter like in the context here. This is a very general thing that you do. Okay, so let me try to just be more clear, maybe. You purposely will refrain from expressing your first spontaneous response to whatever, right? So you always shut it down. And I think you go into a very, and I'm going to show you, there is a lot of thinking, ruminating here, even if the card is in reverse. And there's a lot of time. You're taking a lot of time to think and dwell and think again and change your mind for the 100th time. Something like that, you know what I mean? So that's the slowness, that's the sort of pattern that's there. And it's also what it does, if I may. This is more my, like, I guess, my take on it. So this part you can obviously, it's not really tarot, would be, you know, like, how can I put it? There are moments where it's really good to like take your time before making a decision, of course. So that goes without saying. But I do believe in this case and what we're seeing here, maybe you can try maybe to balance out both kinds of responses. Or at least try to sometimes go with what's spontaneous and what you feel like doing and not censor yourself, basically. Try it out, something like that. Anyway, so whatever slipped. Didn't want to be seen, but this came out, the lighthouse. So it's beautiful that, you know, the moon is a luminary, right? In the sky. So I was pulling this trinket for the moon. So seeing the beacon, or the lighthouse, I should say, is a sign that there is light, that maybe the light wants to shine more, to come out more, which was the commentary here about maybe trying out to balance what's spontaneous versus shutting down your initial responses. And I want to say, especially when it comes to your talent and especially when it comes to love. I think it applies in general for your whole life, but specifically for those two things, because I really want to show you again because I think there's incredible potential in these two particular I don't know if they're things, but you know what I mean? Like a talent for me is not just a thing, like an object. So I'm not sure if, I'm going to say things, right? But you know what I mean? Like, it's like saying, invest in your talents. Don't be shy, especially when it comes to showing that off and responding right away and responding fully and in the way that your heart wants to, and not try to censor yourself, stop yourself, overthink it, and maybe not do it. Something like that. And the same applies for love, especially when it comes to your vulnerable side, because we are looking at tenderness. So and maybe even just affection, right? The being tender is usually a mark. You're showing off, you're being attentive, so being affectionate. So a demonstration of love. Anyway, that's the reading here for you, Gemini, in March. That was interesting. I did enjoy that. I enjoyed unpacking it. I think is what I really enjoyed most. So if it resonated, please like the video, share, and subscribe, and I'll see you soon. Take care.